Tony, did you get your invitation to the new opening of the newly refurbished Safeway on Wisconsin Avenue?
I did not. I never got one.
I'm going to hold it up for those watching on News Channel 8. The invitation says, please save the date for an evening gala celebrating D.C.'s one and only Social Safeway.
Social Safeway, yeah.
We'll be dancing in the aisles, sampling gourmet food and wine, and celebrating the return of the city's most famous grocery store, Wednesday, May 5th, 2010. Non-transferable invitation to follow. Socialsafeway.com for more details. Now, for those of us in this area that have lived here, and this is a local show, I believe.
Yes, it is.
The Safeway on Wisconsin Avenue in Georgetown has long been called the Social Safeway.
When I got here in 1979, it was referred to and recommended to me as the dress-up Safeway. But I would understand Social Safeway.
You get dressed up to go in.
And the people, you would often see people dressed up there, and diplomats, a sort of famous carriage trade crowd of Washington went there.
That would be an interesting thing.
You both grew up here.
Yes.
You know, there are iconic. It sounds silly, but there are iconic places to go for shopping. That was one of them. Eastern Market is another. I mean, there's places that you go for.
The Social Safeway was like a pickup joint.
Really?
Yes, it really was. I mean, it was a place where you went in and you could meet people. And that's why it got the nickname Social Safeway. The interesting part of this is that Safeway now, I don't think ever called the store the Social Safeway, but they now
they are.
Now they are.
When many years ago, when Phyllis Richmond was the food critic of the restaurant critic of the Washington Post, and also worked in the food section, she invited me to the grand opening of what was called the Gourmet Giant. Not the one in Kenwood, but the first one in
McLean.
Yes, the first one that opened. It's probably 25 years ago,
roughly.
And she invited me to this giant, the giant. And I have to tell you that growing up in New York, where I guess space was more of a premium, certainly in Nassau County where I lived, supermarkets were not all that super.
No.
Right. And not like they were in Florida, where they were like, you could put an airplane in. They were so big. And the fact that in Washington and in McLean they made and McLean is a pretty rich area,
very affluent.
And they made such a big deal about this, and the produce was gorgeous, and the meats were gorgeous, and the fish were gorgeous, and I walked through dressed up. And I remember that to this day, and Phyllis Richmond was kvelling, as we like to say, about all of this food and all of the beauty of that particular supermarket. They then opened up a Gourmet Giant in Kenwood.
Well, the one in Westport Shopping Center, and then there's one in Rockville as well, and I think there are probably a few others.
And I think most people, I would guess, do most of their shopping in supermarkets. If you look at the percentage of time you spend buying things, it's mostly in supermarkets. Yeah. And when they are attractive and the food looks good, you're happy being there. And by the way, if money is not a sticking point, and it is for many people, but if it's not and you can afford 5 cents to 30 cents difference on an item, you're much happier to go to something that looks good. In my case, I'm so old that I prefer to go to small little markets now, like the Broad Branch Market in my neighborhood. You know, and if they charge me more, so be it. But when you go to a supermarket that's sort of ratty, when the carrots, the stems are laying on the floor, no, that's not good. Bonnie Burko says your invite to the Safeway parties at PTI. Oh, well, I didn't know that. I thought you probably confiscated it and tried to sell it. I'd never seen it.
Are
you going to go?
Oh, I don't know, but that Safeway in Georgetown, I believe, is the second highest volume, or it was when it was open.
Really?
Supermarket Safeway in the country next to the store, their original store, which was in the Marina District in San Francisco. That's where Safeway is based in Oakland.
Peter McGowan ran and owned Safeway when he was running and owning the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah. But that Safeway's been out of commission too long. Yes. It has been way too long.
Yes. What did you say?
I know a lot about supermarkets.
Well, you also know. Are you like the queen of the supermarket?
It's like that's
the one terrible.
It's like a weather thing. I know a lot about.
That song is terrible. Yeah, the queen of the supermarket is awful.
Well, apparently they have special names for all the Safeways in DC, and I won't bore you with one, but there's a senior Safeway just by the Watergate. There's an unsafeway in some place. There's a Sandinista Safeway, So
there's a Safeway right near me that I go to all the time, and I don't know what it's called. Maybe the Old Geezer Safeway.
No, you on Chevy Circle.
On Connecticut?
Across from the Avalon.
Yes. All right, we'll be back. I'm Tony Kornheiser. Thank you.